My fiancée kept dodging marriage for years. Turns out she was cheating on me with her classmate, the whole time. Hey Reddit. I've lurked here for years, silently reading the stories that always seemed too dramatic to be real, until one became mine. I've been with Lena for 6 years. 6 years. Living together, sharing bills, talking about kids, even names. I thought she was my forever person. We met at a mutual friend's wedding. She was hot, like way out of my league hot. Big brown eyes, killer smile, one of those women who just floats into a room and you notice. I was a plain, practical guy. Quiet. Thoughtful. Definitely not flashy. But somehow we clicked. Or at least I thought we did. We moved in together after a year. Everything seemed perfect, for a while. Then came the excuses. The first time I proposed, she said, "I want my mom there, and she's sick right now. It just doesn't feel right." Okay. Fair. Her mom had cancer. I could wait. The second time, she said her aunt died and she was grieving. Another 6 months. Then, her brother had a kid and she wanted to help out more with family stuff. And couldn't imagine planning a wedding right now. At that point, my friends were starting to side-eye me like I was delusional. I defended her. I loved her. And here's the thing, I wasn't a lazy partner. I worked 2 jobs to help us get into a better apartment. I bought her flowers every Friday, even after crap weeks. I planned vacations she bailed on last minute. I gave her space, I gave her affection, I gave her everything. But she gave me something else entirely. It started small. She'd come home late, smelling like that overly sweet cologne guys think is sexy but is actually just aggressively thirsty. She'd say she met up with classmates from her grad program. Then came the locked phone. Then the business trips that didn't show up on our shared calendar. Then the nights she'd come back, shower immediately, and act like I was annoying her for asking, "How was your day?" But I still didn't want to believe it. I thought maybe she was just overwhelmed. Maybe she was scared of commitment. Maybe I wasn't enough. God, I feel stupid now even writing that. Next part will be how I finally found out, and trust me, it gets messy. Think softcore, lies, and a lot of humiliation. I know what you're thinking, why didn't I snoop sooner? Because I was that guy. The trust is everything guy. The if you dig, you'll find something innocent and ruin it guy. I wanted to believe her. But Lena, she got careless. Or maybe she wanted to get caught. I don't know. Maybe the thrill wasn't enough anymore. It started with her iPad. She usually took it with her everywhere, said it was for work. But one day she left it charging on the kitchen counter and ran out because she was late for a dentist appointment. I was doing laundry, about to toss her work hoodie in the wash, when her iPad lit up. A notification banner from an app one didn't recognize, some sketchy encrypted messaging platform, flashed a text. "You looked so hot at the theater last night. Let me know if your fiancé liked the movie as much as I did." I stared at it. Theater? Last night, we'd seen a movie together, some artsy European thing she picked. It was supposed to be date night. I remember holding her hand. I remember thinking how cold she felt. How distant. I thought she was just tired. I opened the app. Guys. I felt my stomach evaporate. Messages. Dozens of them. Photos. Some pretty damn graphic ones, too, semi-nudes from her, and from other girls. Not just her and classmate, yes, that's what she had him saved as, like some cute little inside joke, but Lena and 2 other women, dressed like they were going to some eyes-wide-shut party. Lingerie. Masks. One pic had her clearly in someone's lap. Another showed her at some sort of erotic theater event, one of those burlesque things where people touch more than they clap. One video showed her giggling, saying, "Dan thinks I'm with Alyssa at a spa night, but I'm about to get my back blown out in a hotel in Midtown. Wish me luck." I felt paralyzed. The kind of rage that starts in your spine and climbs like fire ants. She had filmed that while I was cooking her dinner. She'd sent it to classmate. His name was Julian, by the way. A guy from her college program. I'd met him once at a dinner party. He shook my hand and said, "You're a lucky man." I remember that. I sat down, iPad in my lap, like it was radioactive. I couldn't move. Couldn't think straight. My ears were ringing, like a bomb had gone off inside my skull. I didn't cry. I laughed. That ugly, crazy person kind of laugh. Because this wasn't just cheating. This was theater. This was a long, plotted-out show, and I was the idiot paying full price for tickets to sit front row while she clowned me. I didn't say anything right away. I wanted to. Oh, I wanted to storm into wherever she was and hurl that iPad like a frisbee of fury, but I held back. I needed to see her lie to my face again. Just once. Just to know. That night, she came home around 10. Hair damp. Cheeks flushed. "Spa night was so good," she said, kissing my cheek, her lips cold. "Alyssa's new facialist is magical." I asked her if she wanted wine. She said, "God, yes." I poured 2 glasses and handed her one. She sat at the kitchen island and pulled out her phone, typing away like nothing was wrong. So I said it. "I didn't know Julian liked European cinema." She blinked. Froze. "Who?" I smiled. "Julian. You know, your classmate with the brain emoji." She went ghost white. Her wine glass slipped from her fingers and hit the tile. Shattered. Merlot splashed up her ankle. She stared at me like I'd ripped off a mask she didn't know she was wearing. I stayed quiet, watching her calculate how to spin this. Then it started. "I can explain." "Explain what?" "That you sent a video to your boyfriend while I was making you stir-fry?" She got defensive fast. "He's not my boyfriend. It's not like that. It's just flirting. It's harmless. Lena, there's a photo of you straddling him on a rooftop bar. That's not flirting. That's Netflix's next docuseries." Then came the gaslighting. Full throttle. "You shouldn't have gone through my stuff. You're invading my privacy. You've never been spontaneous. Maybe I just needed more." And then, the piece de resistance. "I haven't even slept with him yet." Yet. She actually said yet. I asked about the erotic movie night. The lingerie parties. The hotel video. She said, "I was just exploring. You've never been very adventurous." And that broke me. Because I had spent years thinking maybe if I just worked harder, dressed better, was more charming, she'd finally want to marry me. I was already killing myself trying to be enough. And now she was telling me it was my fault she cheated? Nah. I stood up, grabbed my keys, and left. Didn't even pack a bag. Didn't tell her where I was going. Just walked out of the house I had paid 70% of the mortgage on like it meant nothing. Because in that moment, it didn't. Not anymore. So yeah? I left. No suitcase. No toothbrush. Just my wallet, keys, and the massive, vibrating black hole that was now my self-worth. I crashed on my buddy Kevin's couch. Told him everything. The iPad, the video, the way she said, "Yet." He didn't say anything at first. Just handed me a beer and said, "Bro, you want me to run her over with my Corolla?" For 2 days I didn't respond to her texts. There were 27 of them by the second morning. Some angry, some begging. The usual greatest hits. "You're blowing this out of proportion. Nothing even happened with Julian. You always emotionally abandon me. Can we talk like adults?" She even tried a guilt grenade. "My mom's health is getting worse, and you're going to leave me now." I almost replied to that one. But then I remembered that same sick mom was her excuse not to get married, 2 years ago. And somehow, she still had time to dress up in fishnets and masks with strangers. It was like my brain was on a loop. The things I'd seen. The sound of her giggling in that video. Her saying I wasn't adventurous. I kept hearing that line over and over. I stopped eating. Lost 10 pounds in a week. Couldn't focus at work. Thank God I had WFH privileges because I barely left Kevin's guest room. I kept replaying all the signs I had ignored. Like the time she came home with a faint hickey and said she burned herself with a curling iron. Or when she started locking her phone and her laptop. Or when she bought fancy lingerie she never wore around me. I started spiraling. Was I boring? Too safe? Too average? And then the worst thought, was I ever enough for her? That was the part that really cut. Not the cheating itself. Not the lies. It was that for years I had been begging for scraps of affection from someone who was actively entertaining other men. And women. Apparently, Julian wasn't even the only one. There was a girl named Tasha she experimented with at some erotic festival. I only found out because Lena posted an old throwback on her public IG, her wearing the same outfit from one of the iPad photos. And Tasha was tagged. So I clicked. Guess what? Tasha had posted the same night. Caption: one of the hottest weekends of my life. Hashtagged, #girls what play, #open legs. I think I laughed for 10 minutes straight. Not because it was funny, but because at some point you run out of shock. And all that's left is this weird, empty cackle. I wasn't even angry anymore. I was just gone. At some point, sadness curdles into something sharper. It was about a week in, still living out of a duffel bag and using Kevin's shampoo that smelled like Axe and regret, when something just clicked. I looked in the mirror, and for the first time, I didn't see a guy who got cheated on. I saw a guy who let someone treat him like wallpaper for 6 years. That's when the grief started to twist into something else. Rage? Sure. But not that chaotic scream into a pillow kind. This was cold. Focused. Like something inside me had flipped and gone tactical. I stopped reading her texts. Blocked her number. Went dark on socials. And I made a list. An actual, pen and paper list. Title: Operation Make Her Regret Everything. Move all my money out of our joint account. Cancel the shared Spotify family plan. Petty, I know, but it felt good. Contact a lawyer. Jim. Every damn day. That's still in progress, but the rage is fuel. New haircut. Not the boyfriend who says yes to everything. Cut. Sharp. Clean. Unrecognizable. Post some thirst traps. Tastefully, of course. Let her see the glow up. Here's the thing, Lena always made it seem like she was the prize. She used to say things like, "You're lucky I'm with someone so safe." Or, "Most guys I date have trust issues, you're so easy." Easy. Nah, I wasn't easy. I was loyal. There's a difference. She wanted excitement? She wanted chaos? She can have it, with Julian and Tasha and whoever else she wants to play with in their BDSM brunch club. I started going to therapy. Not fix me therapy, clarity therapy. I wanted to understand why I'd ignored so many red flags, why I'd settled for someone who fed me breadcrumbs and called it love. My therapist said something that hit me in the chest. You didn't love her. You loved the idea of being chosen by someone like her. That's dumb. Because it was true. I'd put her on a pedestal so high, I never saw how low she was willing to go. So yeah, I stopped being a ghost. I started being a problem. And that's when the fun really began. Because what I did next? Well, let's just say karma didn't knock. I invited her in and handed her a baseball bat. So here's the thing about cheaters. They're usually sloppy somewhere. And Lena? She was a digital disaster. Sure, she locked her phone tighter than Fort Knox, but her Gmail? Still logged in on the old desktop I kept in the den. She probably forgot it even existed. I wasn't looking for revenge when I opened it. Not at first. I was trying to recover a tax document. Swear to God. But curiosity, man. Curiosity and trauma are a hell of a combo. The inbox was a buffet. A feast of filth and lies. Flights to NYC under a conference pretense? Booked under her maiden name. Hotel confirmations from boutique spots with mirrors on the ceilings. No, I'm not kidding. She even had receipts from a lingerie store called Velvet Vice. Classy. And there was one golden egg. An invite to a private erotic showcase. 2 months prior. Guests, Lena +1. Guess who the +1 was? Julian. There were RSVP emails. Costume requirements, think masquerade, but with more nipple tape. There were attachments, photos from the event. Lena in a mask and corset, with Julian beside her in what looked like a leather kilt. A leather kilt, read it. But here's where it gets Shakespearean. There were also emails between Julian and another woman. Not Lena. He had been seeing both. And judging by the date stamps, Lena was the side chick. I almost dropped the mouse. All this time, I'd been picturing her giggling at my expense, living her sexy little double life while I was buying organic groceries and meal prepping her tofu. But turns out she was just one more flavor in Julian's sampler pack. That's when the real revenge plan hatched. Step 1. Download everything. Photos. Emails. Hotel bills. Even that laughably pretentious event invite with the subject line, "Pleasure is power." Step 2. Compile them into a little Google Drive folder titled, Lena's Real Resume. Step 3. Send a link to her best friend, Sarah. Why Sarah? Because Sarah hates liars. She also happens to work at the same firm as Lena. And guess what? Their firm has a morality clause for client-facing employees. You know what came next? Sarah responded, "Holy shit. Is this why she cancelled my bachelorette weekend?" Me. Keep reading. It gets worse. I didn't even have to nudge Sarah. She did the rest. Word spread fast. Lena didn't get fired, not yet, but let's just say the HR department scheduled a serious discussion with her. And the best part? Julian's real girlfriend, the one he was actually dating, found out too. How? Because I sent her the folder too. Took some light stalking, but I found her via tagged photos on Julian's IG. She was in every vacation pic he posted. Every one. She responded with a single message. Thank you? I knew something was off. I didn't reply. Didn't have to. I just smiled and closed the tab. Sometimes revenge is messy and loud. Other times, it's just clean digital receipts and a quiet mic drop. I thought I was done with her. But of course, Lena wasn't done with me. It started with a call from the front desk at my gym. "Hey, there's a woman here asking for you. Says she's your wife?" Technically, we were still engaged, not married, but she loved throwing that word around. Made her feel official, I guess. I walked out of the locker room and there she was. Drenched in sweat, face blotchy, mascara running like she'd just been dumped on national TV. Full Lululemon kit. Designer tote bag slung over her shoulder. Probably hoping to blend in with the other hot yoga chicks. She looked like every gym bro's fantasy, and every betrayed man's nightmare. "Dan," she said, voice cracking. I raised my eyebrows and crossed my arms. "You lost?" She looked like she wanted to hug me. I stepped back. No way I was catching any of her drama cooties. She sniffled. "Why would you do this to me?" I stared at her. "You mean the Google Drive? Or the truth?" She actually had the audacity to say, "You didn't have to destroy my life." I laughed. Out loud. In front of the vending machine. "Lena, you destroyed your own life. I just made sure you couldn't bury the wreckage under a new Instagram filter." She tried to guilt-trip me. Said her firm was putting her on probation. That Sarah won't return her calls. That Julian's girlfriend had outed the whole affair to their circle, and now everyone saw Lena as the homewrecker. I shrugged. Sounds accurate. She dropped the act real quick then. Flipped from crying to pissed in seconds. You've changed, Dan. No, I said. I just stopped begging to be chosen. Then she said the line that sealed the deal for me. You'll never find someone like me again. I smiled. God, I hope not. She stormed out, and I swear to you, it was like the entire weight of those 6 years walked out with her. I stood there for a while, just breathing. Just existing without her gravitational pull yanking my self-worth into orbit. People talk about closure like it's some peaceful heart-to-heart. But sometimes, closure is watching the woman who lied to you, gaslit you, and cheated on you walk away with her reputation in shambles, and realizing you feel nothing but relief. It's wild how quickly you level up when you stop orbiting someone else's dysfunction. Post-Lena, I went full Phoenix mode. And no, this isn't some Hollywood montage where I emerge shredded overnight, and everyone wants to sleep with me. But let's just say, the before and after pics would get me a sponsorship deal. Step 1: the gym. Not for revenge. For me. I stopped skipping workouts. Dialed in my diet. Protein shakes. Pull-ups. No more scrolling through her feed and wondering if I measured up to Julian, leather kilt, McSide piece. I stopped chasing validation and started chasing PRs. Step 2: therapy. My therapist, shout out to Greg, became my spiritual spotter. We dug deep into why I'd tolerated Lena's hot and cold chaos for so long. Spoiler, it goes back to childhood and a dad who made affection conditional on achievement. Greg called it attachment trauma. I called it never again. Step 3: the tattoo. I'd never gotten ink before. Always said I'd wait until something meant something. So I booked a session with a quiet, stoic artist named Anya. I told her what I'd been through, and she didn't flinch. Just designed this clean, geometric phoenix climbing out of a twisted ring of thorns, symbolizing everything I'd burned through and left behind. It's on my left forearm now. Lena hated tattoos. Which makes me love it even more. Step 4: social media renaissance. I didn't post for months. Then, one day, I uploaded a gym selfie. Just me, hoodie half-zipped, new haircut, headphones in, captioned. Some things fall apart so better things can gain muscle. Petty? Yes. Effective? Oh, you bet your ass. My DMs? Lit. Exes. Coworkers. One of Lena's old friends who once called me sweet but a little boring. She reacted to my story with a fire emoji. It was shallow and meaningless. But also incredibly satisfying. I wasn't interested in dating yet. But I wasn't mourning anymore. And that was the biggest glow-up of all. Because for the first time in 6 years, I didn't feel like I was being not enough for someone. I felt like enough for me. I was not expecting it. It was a Tuesday. I was meal prepping grilled chicken like the newly empowered, emotionally literate gym bro I'd become when I got the ping. Instagram DM. From Julian's real girlfriend. The one I'd sent the folder to. The one who ended Lena's kilt fantasy, like a boss. Her message? Hey. Can I ask you something? No drama. Just curiosity. Now, my first instinct was, oh God. She wants to team up and burn their love dungeon to the ground. But no. She wanted to meet. She said she just wanted closure. That she never actually talked to someone who had gone through it like she had. She even offered to meet in a public place so it wouldn't be weird. And here's the kicker, she added. Also, I've seen your stories lately. You look really centered. Look, I was skeptical. The last woman I trusted was feeding me quinoa while sneaking off to pole dancing masquerade parties. But I said yes. Mostly because I was curious too. What was her side of the hurricane? We met at a coffee shop. She walked in wearing a hoodie, no makeup, tired eyes, but she looked free. Like someone who had stopped pretending. We talked for 3 hours. Julian had lied to her for months. She'd known something was off but didn't have proof. My Google Drive folder? That was her holy grail. And Lena? Oh boy. Apparently, after the fallout, she tried to befriend Julian's ex again. Claimed they were both victims of male manipulation. Tried to start some faux feminist sisterhood. It didn't work. But the best part. Julian's ex, let's call her Rachel, told me that he got dumped by everyone in his circle. Even his ethical non-monogamy buddies iced him out because apparently he broke every boundary and rule in their community. Turns out, being a sleazy liar in a leather kilt isn't cute even in sex-positive spaces. She laughed when she told me that. And I laughed with her. And then she said something that stuck. You and I were the collateral damage in their little game. But we're not wreckage, we're witnesses. And we get to build from truth now. That hit me in the chest. Not gonna lie, I felt a little spark. A connection. Not romantic right away, but definitely a damn, this person gets it kind of vibe. We didn't exchange numbers. Just said maybe we'd run into each other again. No pressure. But walking home, I felt something shift. Closure isn't always about slamming doors. Sometimes, it's just sitting across from someone who survived the same storm and realizing you're both still standing. It had been a couple of weeks since the gym scene, and for a blissful stretch of time, Lena had gone silent. I thought that was it. I'd blocked her on most platforms. But I forgot one, my work email. Who the hell uses work email for personal drama? Lena, apparently. Subject line. Can we talk? Just once? I clicked it out of morbid curiosity. The body of the message was a monologue of epic proportions. I've been reflecting a lot. I didn't handle things well. Julian wasn't who I thought he was. You always grounded me. You've changed, and honestly it's kind of hot. Yeah. She actually tried to turn my healing into foreplay. But the part that really made me laugh? She offered to start fresh. Said maybe we could go to couples therapy. That she was willing to take accountability. That she missed our Sunday mornings in the way I made coffee like it was an art. Oh, Lena. You didn't miss me. You missed having someone clean up your emotional mess while you played dress-up with your sex cult classmates. I didn't respond. I forwarded the email to myself for the archive, then deleted it from my inbox. But that wasn't the end. 3 days later, I ran into her. At a farmer's market, of all places. I was picking up blueberries. She was with a friend, one of those always tanned, always judging types she used to talk crap about but kept around anyway. She spotted me and jogged over, all breezy. Hey, stranger, she said, sunglasses perched on her head like we were starring in some nostalgic reunion rom-com. I nodded. Lena. Her friend hovered behind her, silent, clearly aware of the drama. Probably thriving on it. You look good, Lena said. Like really good. I didn't smile. Therapy. Protein. No liars. She blinked at that. Like I'd slapped her with a kale leaf. Then she gave me this wounded sigh and said, Do you really think I'm that bad? That was the moment. Not during the cheating. Not during the video. Not even during the wine glass incident. That was when I finally felt nothing. Lena, I said, I don't think about you at all. I walked away. Left her standing there next to a basket of overpriced avocados and her confused friend. That moment? Better than revenge. Better than closure. It was emancipation. I didn't need her apology. I didn't need her to feel guilty. I just needed her to not matter anymore. So no, the real upgrade wasn't some rebound girl I met at the gym who turned into a manic pixie dream life coach. Sorry, Reddit, this isn't a rom-com. The real upgrade was me. Not in a cheesy hashtag self-love way. I'm talking practical, soul-deep renovation. I stopped living like someone waiting to be picked. You know that vibe when you're half living, just hovering around a toxic partner's mood swings? That's how I'd spent years. Tiptoeing around Lena's I need space. And you're too predictable. Monologues like a butler in my own relationship. But now, I was living. Like actually living. I got promoted at work because, surprise, when you're not constantly anxious about your partner's mystery, study group, weekends, you do better on presentations. I reconnected with friends I'd pushed away during the Lena vortex. One of them actually said, "Dude, you smile differently now." That hit me harder than any gym PR. I booked a solo trip. First one ever. Just me, a hiking trail in Oregon, and zero Wi-Fi. I sat on the edge of a cliff one morning, watching the sunrise, and for the first time in forever, I didn't feel like a supporting character. I felt like the main ****ing event. I also deleted the dating apps. I wasn't ready. Not because I was scared, because I finally wasn't desperate. And then, because life has a twisted sense of humor, I ran into Rachel again. Remember her? Julian's ex? The one with the quiet strength and the 3-hour coffee date. She was at a bookstore this time, holding a copy of a memoir about trauma and resilience. We laughed when we saw each other. Ended up grabbing dinner. Nothing romantic. Just good. We talked about what moving on really looks like. About how neither of us were in any rush to jump back into relationships, but how nice it felt to sit across from someone who wasn't lying, manipulating, or secretly planning their next erotic masquerade. It wasn't a love story. It was a true story. And after Lena, that felt revolutionary. This one caught me off guard. It was a random Thursday night. I was halfway through folding laundry and halfway through a rewatch of Better Call Saul when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. Then it buzzed again, this time a text. "Hey Dan. It's Alyssa. I know it's weird, but can I ask you something? It's not about Lena. It's about me." Alyssa. That name probably doesn't ring a bell unless you've been keeping receipts. She was Lena's spa night alibi. The one Lena always said she was hanging out with when she was off getting waxed and wine drunk with Julian. I stared at the message for a while, suspicious. Thought maybe Lena was fishing again, using her friend as bait. But curiosity got the better of me. So I texted back. "What's this about?" She replied fast. Like she'd been waiting. "I found out what Lena was really doing back then. You were right. She used me. Lied to me. I feel like crap for being part of it, even if I didn't know." Apparently, Lena had told her friends I was controlling and jealous, and that she had to sneak around just to breathe. So when Lena asked Alyssa to cover for her, Alyssa thought she was helping a friend in a bad relationship. Turns out, Lena's web of lies was more elaborate than I knew. Alyssa said she only found out the full story after she ran into Sarah, Lena's now ex-best friend, who filled in all the gory details. The iPad. The masquerade parties. The "I'm just going to a poetry slam" nights that turned into Julian's bootcamp of betrayal. "I'm sorry I ever believed her," Alyssa wrote. "I should have asked questions. I didn't expect to feel validated. But I did. Not in a petty way. In a damn, I wasn't crazy way." She offered to meet and talk, but I declined. Told her I appreciated the honesty and the courage to reach out, but I was past it now. Didn't want to reopen doors that were finally sealed shut. Alyssa thanked me. Said she hoped I was doing okay. I told her I was better than okay. That I was finally living like someone who knew his own worth. It wasn't planned. I wasn't even trying to date yet. My therapist had this rule. Don't rush to fill the silence just because it's quiet. And honestly, I was loving the silence. No drama, no second-guessing, no trying to decode someone's mood from the way they stirred their coffee. But then Rachel texted me again. Simple. Friendly. "I'm going to this art exhibit Saturday. There's a whole installation on trust and identity. Thought of you. Wanna come?" I hesitated. Not because I didn't want to, but because I did. And that scared me more than I expected. But I said yes. We met outside the gallery. She looked different. Not in a dramatic makeover way. Just softer. Lighter. Like someone who'd finally set down a suitcase they'd been dragging for miles. The exhibit was wild, interactive stuff where you had to walk blindfolded through rooms guided only by sound. One piece had two strangers write down their deepest insecurity on paper, then swap them and burn them together. She and I didn't do that part. But we watched. And we felt it. Afterward, we grabbed food from this food truck she knew. Sat on a park bench with bao buns and those dumb glass sodas that are way too expensive but taste like childhood. We talked. Not about Julian. Not about Lena. About books. Music. What we'd learned in therapy. She told me she started boxing to deal with her rage. I told her I started journaling. Don't knock it, guys, it works. She looked at me and said, "You're not what I expected." I raised an eyebrow. "How so?" She shrugged. "You could have turned bitter. Or toxic. Or gone on some woman-hating rampage. But you didn't. You built a whole new version of yourself." I smiled. "I figured if I didn't rebuild, I'd just be haunted." She paused. "Do you feel haunted anymore?" I looked up at the sky. It was dusk. Calm. No ghosts. No shadows. Just the present. "No," I said. "Not anymore. We didn't kiss. We didn't make plans. But there was something there. A spark. A promise. Not of a perfect future. But of something honest. And after everything I'd been through? Honesty felt damn near holy. It had been sitting in my sock drawer for months. The ring. A 1.5-carat solitaire I bought after saving up for almost a year. Clean, simple, elegant, like I thought Lena was. Like I wanted to believe she was. I hadn't looked at it since I left the house. Until last weekend. I was cleaning out old boxes, stuff I'd shoved into my closet during the emotional triage phase of my life, and there it was, tucked in its little black velvet coffin. I stared at it for a long time. Not with sadness. Not even with anger. Just curiosity. Like it was a relic from a life that never really existed. A prop from a play where I didn't even realize I was cast as the fool. I thought about selling it. Thought about throwing it in a lake like some dramatic movie scene. But that felt too small. Too symbolic. So I sent Lena one final message. The first one in weeks. "I have the ring. Want it back? Or should I donate it to someone who actually believes in commitment?" She replied within 5 minutes. "Just leave it in the mailbox. I'll come get it." Of course she would. Never one to face things head on. So I did exactly that. Slipped the ring back into the box. Wrote a single note. "This never belonged to you. Just like my future never did." Put it in her mailbox. Walked away. Didn't look back. That was it. No more second chances. No more emotional detours. No more wondering if she'd ever change or apologize or see what she lost. She knew. And I didn't need her to say it. I was already free. It's been a year. 12 full months since I walked out of the house I thought I'd grow old in. Since I watched the woman I loved morph into someone I didn't recognize, someone who didn't just lie, but curated a whole alternate reality where I was the side character. And now? I'm good. Not every day is perfect. Good. But solid good. The kind where you wake up without dread. Where your chest doesn't feel like it's holding its breath all the time. Rachel and I still talk. Still go slow. Sometimes we just exist near each other, reading, walking, sitting in silence. That kind of peace feels more romantic than any candlelight dinner ever did with Lena. I'm still in therapy. Still journaling. Still lifting. I even started mentoring a couple guys at work going through breakups, just unofficially. We meet for coffee and talk about grief, identity, and how not to get stuck in the "was I not enough?" spiral. Spoiler, you were enough. They just didn't see it. If you're reading this because you found out your person was cheating, or lying, or gaslighting you into thinking you were the problem, let me tell you something I wish someone had told me earlier. Their betrayal says everything about them and nothing about your worth. You're not weak for loving someone. You're not dumb for trusting them. But you are strong for walking away. And healing? It isn't some dramatic movie moment. It's quiet. It's choosing yourself every damn day. It's relearning how to be alone without being lonely. It's drinking your coffee and realizing, finally, that it tastes better without the bitterness. So yeah, this is the end of the story. Not the end of my story. Just the end of hers in it. And damn, it feels good to turn the page. Thanks for reading, Reddit. You all helped more than you know. I have many other stories. Go to my channel, subscribe so you don't lose us. Give me a thumbs up.